Welcome back to Domain 1 Task 4. This is all about visualization and transparency. It's one of the favorite areas I like to hear Roy teach. So visualization and transparency, it says practice visualization, maintain visible information radiators, show real progress and team performance, and enhance transparency and trust. So Roy, any comments on this overarching first slide?
Yeah, so look at what the person is holding right there, right? That is a fantastic visualization tool. Now, there are different ways of building these things, and quite honestly, that's probably not the way I would build it, but that's okay. It doesn't make any difference, right? The important thing is that this is a visualization tool. Now, look at what you can get out of that. You can see who's working on what. You can see impediments. You can see what's blocked. You can see what's in progress. This is a status report right here. And it's maintained by simply moving things across the board. And each team member is responsible for it, not a project manager, right? Everyone's responsible for this. The visualization is insanely important, incredibly important in any project. Agile just kind of says, you must do this, right? But we can do this in Waterfall as well. Get to see so much data. It's a visual control tool. That's what a visual control board, you get to see all kinds of good stuff here, right, Phil?
Absolutely, Roy. I mean, we hear this a lot. People saying, well, I don't call it a storyboard. I call it a Kanban board. What would you say to that?
Who cares? Call it whatever you want. Call it Fred. What's the difference, right? As long as you're getting the same results, that's all that really matters, right?
That's true. Let's talk about some more things that can help us to be transparent and engage stakeholders, Roy. What are all these?
Yeah, so some of these are artifacts, like the roadmap. To me, the roadmap is one of the most important artifacts that you can have. The reason that it's so important is because of that transparency. If you want to engage your stakeholders, if you want the transparency your stakeholders need so that they can make smart decisions, then the roadmap is your critical artifact. And let me say this, so many teams neglect the roadmap. So don't be one of those Agile teams that neglect your roadmap. It is critical. They are so focused, especially when they're first starting, they're focused on sprint, 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 sprint. Well, there's something bigger than the sprint. Right? That's what your roadmap is for. You got to be able to visualize the bigger picture. This is the stuff your stakeholders care about. They don't care about the individual stories a team is working on, right? They really don't care about that stuff. They want to see the big stuff, right? They want to see, are we on track? And you can't tell that in a 2-week sprint, right? Short iterations, another great visualization transparency tool, because we're saying, this is what we're going to build. 2 weeks later, here it is, demonstrate it. Fantastic. And that ties us to the sprint review, which is the demonstration of the output of that short iteration, right? So this is how we can keep our stakeholders engaged, keep them involved in the process. We need their feedback. Here's what you're going to have often, especially in waterfall environments. You're going to have stakeholders that say, I told you my needs, show it to me when it's done. Well, that might be 6 months, right? Now think of the downside of that. That's great that they just don't want to be involved for 6 months. But if we produce something at the end of that 6 months, and it's not really what they wanted, even though it's what they requested, then your stakeholder is going to be unhappy with the results. And whose fault is it? Well, here's the thing. It's the stakeholder's fault, right? And may also be your fault for not getting your stakeholder to agree to be engaged. So think about it that way. We need that engagement. We got to have them involved. They have to see the working product and make those adjustments along the way. Otherwise, what you're going to have is basically waterfall. You come to the end of the project, and that's where you get these big change requests. Expensive, 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 very impactful. The little changes, not so bad, right? Storyboards, we just gave an example of that. Now there are, just want to put this out there, there are different names, as Phil kind of mentioned, different names for a storyboard. It could be a Kanban board, it could be a storyboard, it could also be a task board, right? They're all generally the same thing, maybe slightly different formats, but they're really the same thing. It is a visual control methodology, right? Meaning, big picture, all the work that's currently being worked on, who's working on it, the status, everything you need to know is generally right there on that one board. And you can, if you look at it, if you take a step back, you can see the picture, right? You can see the visualization of the work. And that's very different from a status report, right? All right, reporting, lots and lots of metrics, lots of different reports. Burn charts are the primary thing we're going to be looking at. Tons and tons of metrics that we can get. I'm a data geek. I love data, love metrics. And I have an old metric framework that I make use of for my teams. Just want to make sure that you use metrics appropriately, that you don't abuse the metrics, because they can really destroy a team very, very fast. So Use them cautiously, focus on the most important things. The burn charts give you great visuals. You can see from this chart. Again, take a step back and see the big picture, not the individual status. I don't care about the status of an individual data item, an individual story. I care about the status of the sprint. How's the team progressing as a team and as a sprint goal, not an individual story, right? So these tools give you the ability to see bigger picture, not just the individual picture, right?
Great stuff, Roy. Thank you very much. Let's go very, very rapidly to a simple true or false question. T-shaped people supplement their expertise in one area with non-supporting but more developed skills in unassociated areas. Let's relaunch the poll and choose A or B. It's true or false. A for true, B for false. A for true, B for false. A for true, B for false. All right, give it a few more seconds. Okay, blast from the past, huh? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and end the poll. All right, so this statement sounds true, but it's not. It's false. The reason why it's false is because it says T-shaped people supplement their expertise in one area with non-supporting but more developed skills in associated areas. This says, honest, what good is an unassociated area? Imagine having someone on your team who is a developer. They're looking for someone who understands maybe testing, and then you bring someone who knows baking, unassociated area. What good is that? So you got to look at the minutia, those words on the exam. They're there to trap you.
That was a mean question, Phil. That is just not right.
It's a true or false.
I know it's what the PMI does, right?
That's what they do.
Practice these.
That's what they do. Practice it. All right, that was a fun one. Let's move to our next.